child and women. And second is massive unemployment and underemployment. And we have unemployment rate 17%, seasonal unemployment rate 67%. And when we talk about the low economic growth rate, generally what will happen over 15 or the 20 years types this data, we can easily find out the less than 3% economic growth rate against approximately 2.something% population growth rate. And we have higher growth rate trap of China and Nepal, India. And when we observe, industrial growth rate, still we have, lower industrial growth rate, and except 2017 and 16, 10% economic industrial growth rate. And when we observe the another sector, agriculture, we have, monsoon-based subsistence agriculture is still, only 20% land utilization, and we have traditional crop pattern and rotation system and manual system, and 70% monsoon rain irrigation. And when we observe the macroeconomic indicator, we can easily find out alarming huge trade deficit. All of you know, we have 500 billion trade deficit at present. And another one is the Nepal has exporting labor, and its outflow is excessive. And another, except the 2-3 years, we have political instability, and in terms of government, in terms of political system, agriculture sector contributes 33% in our GDP. And if we observe the other scenarios, you can easily find out the certain problems. And generally, at present context, federal structure demands huge regular expenditure for institutional development and policy initiation. But the question is, what are the development alternatives? $100 million question is how to get prosperity in Nepal, and what will be the good alternative in the state-led development. And my argument is corporate sector as a whole. And when we observe, that argument, we have initiated two reforms. One is, in 1980s, and another is the 1990s. And then after, we open up FDI reforms. And second one is the private investment. And our expectation is huge unutilized resource investment potential along with new technology maximize their profit against the CSR. And generally you can easily find out least CSR. That is the scenario. And it means the people, stakeholder has been losing their welfare. And in this situation, corporate behavior and decision towards the profit motivation more than CSR. And my objective in this paper to examine CSR's nature and practices of the commercial banks in Nepal from 2008 to 2017, to assess the structure and trend of CSR budget of the commercial banks, and to explore its size and CSR and profit ratio of the commercial banks. This is the concept of the CSR. Generally, CSR is understood as a social contract or the social responsibility for developing corporate citizen. And that concept, all of emerged in 1917 at the business level, and in academic level it emerged in 1932. And ultimately, so that concept is the sacrificing profits in the social interest. And if you observe its practices, generally in the developed countries, USA, Europe, and the other countries, it was mandatory. And again, if you observe in India, it is also mandatory. But when we talk about the developing countries like Nepal, it is voluntary. And we have a concept of four pillars of the CSR. This is a concept of the conceptual framework of the. And its data and the methodology. Generally, the simple explorative and descriptive method. I use the secondary and primary, and it is based on CSR disclosure of the banks. My sample banks are the